Well, you mentioned Mark Cuban. We didn't talk about him as far as an influencer. Mark's been interesting because he was really an early adopter of DeFi, was talking about DeFi. But then, the Iron Finance thing happened a week or two ago, and I actually read his blog that he published a few days before that, where he's like, look, I'm getting these amazing returns on this stable coin. I'm rocking it. And then afterwards, he was calling for regulation of stable coins. And I was a little disappointed. Now, maybe I'm reading that wrong, Mark, and I think net positive, he's helped the community. But what's your read on Mark?
Well, look, people don't like to admit that they make mistakes. And I think obviously, he knows he made a mistake, obviously. And I don't know to what level he wants to own up to that, but you can't have a platform as big as Mark Cuban's and be in the crypto world, we call it shilling, whatever, promoting, whatever, a coin that's not a top coin when you have that much influence. And that's why actually, like, over the growth of my channel, as we've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, the level of coin that we cover has gotten higher and higher and higher. Because when I've got 2,000 people watching my channel, I don't mind talking about something that's way down in the thousands that may have massive potential, because I didn't have a lot of influence, So it's like, guys, this, go take a risk. If you want to go gamble on this, go gamble on it. We got 1 million subscribers. That's why now we mainly talk about the top 10, top 20 coins. And we learned this over the summer. We covered projects over the summer that scammed us. That basically there was a project, I don't want to name the name of it because, it'd be giving those people promotion, but we did a sponsored review. Now, in the history of my channel, 100% of the sponsored reviews, or projects we've been invested in, we've set up front, we've disclosed, because I've known from very early on when regulation comes in down the road, I want to be able to have that strong backbone to be able to point at every time we ever did a sponsored video and say it was sponsored. But we started working on projects over the summer where we did a sponsored review and we had their smart contract audited, and it was foolproof. It was great. They could not have pulled the money out, pulled the liquidity out. As soon as my video came out, they changed the smart contract. And so there was a vulnerability built in to change the smart contract that wasn't within the smart contract. And so people that invested in that project got hurt. And we were devastated by that. When it came out, we talked about it. Anytime we've ever made a mistake, people don't understand, when you go through the kind of explosive growth that we went over the last year and a half, you learn stuff, you make mistakes. But the thing is, can you own up to those mistakes? And can you promise your audience that you're going to do things to fix those, to prevent that from happening in the future? When Mark Cuban is talking about Ethereum, Aave, and Titan in the same breath, that's not a positive thing. You can't say that. That's why you're not going to hear me give you a top 500 coin on this show. We're going to tell you what the top coins you should hold are, because we're very confident in those. And I don't know if he was kind of a victim of, kind of just the overexcitement, or if he was a victim of someone in his ear telling him it was going to be great, looking at the returns. Yield farming and decentralized finance can be risky. You've got to understand those risks going on. And the people that we call degenerates in the space, or the people who they use the really tiny platforms, they know what they're getting into. You kind of build in getting scammed and what we call rug pulled into your overall bottom line, where you put money into a bunch of these platforms, some of them are going to scam you. But the ones that don't, some of those returns are going to be so massive, they're going to cover, because your losses are capped at what you put in. Your gains aren't capped. It can go up exponentially forever. We understand not forever, but you know what I'm saying. You can get, 69,000% returns on things sometimes, whereas you can only lose 100%. So I think for Mark, I think he's been a pretty good ambassador for crypto at different times. And I think really what we've done, I can only talk about what we've done. We pointed the fingers back at ourselves and looked at when we made mistakes and when we got scammed, and we fixed that going forward. And I hope Mark does that. There certainly should be a level of regulation somewhere, but you got to start looking at yourself and where you made the mistake and promoting something that scammed, and make sure that doesn't happen for your audience again.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call. And again, it's hard not to get excited about certain protocols and certain things. And when you have a big market share and it's working out really well, I totally get it. And I definitely think he's been a net positive, shining a lot of light on this space. But that was something, it's actually a great little case study right there. I actually used it for my students and said, this is a great example of what can go wrong when you think nothing can go wrong. And again, if the returns are too good to be true, it's worth taking a look at it is all,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to some of those, APYs and things that were happening. It doesn't mean it can't happen. There's always places where that innovation can actually show that, but it's worth having a third look. And of course, hindsight's 2020.
Well, I would say, Brian, just on that point,
Yeah.
I think that's really the most difficult thing about crypto is that the returns are already too good to be true. And that's where I'd really warn your audience a lot against scams. Like I've got literally thousands of impersonators out there that try to take advantage of people by trying to convince them that they're me. And, we've never in the history of, I don't have time to manage other people's money. We don't ask for money from people for investments. And there's a lot of scams, including Google ads on YouTube actually has a scam called BitBoy Arbitrage, where they allow those ads onto my videos and I can't take them off through YouTube, to where they trick people into trying to invest in scammers. And so you got to be careful out there, because the thing about it is, while the returns are already too good to be true, you have to keep a healthy skepticism of things. And what I would say is, if anyone's offering to give you something or to give you a return for free or for a small investment, that's something you definitely want to watch out for. A lot of the projects are great. A lot of people are bad. And that's what you got to be careful of, is the scammers.